Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we're looking into Termina, a platform built on the Solana blockchain that's got everyone talking.
It's making waves, especially with developers building decentralized applications, because of the power it gives them.
Power, how so?
Well, Termina lets developers launch their own high-performance blockchains.
Their own blockchains.
Yeah, custom-tailored to their specific needs, all within the Solana ecosystem.
Whoa, so it's like they're taking the speed and power of Solana and creating their own kind of like custom superhighways.
You got it. Think of Solana as a huge highway system, and Termina is giving developers the tools to build their own off-ramps, leading to dedicated lanes just for their apps.
I like that analogy.
Mm-hmm.
I can already see how this would be a game changer for things like DePIN projects, where decentralized networks are tackling real-world problems.
Exactly, like bringing internet access to underserved regions.
Right.
Imagine owning a piece of the internet infrastructure in your community and getting rewarded for sharing your bandwidth with your neighbors.
That's a powerful idea. And I'm guessing this could also revolutionize things like decentralized exchanges and payment systems.
Absolutely. Imagine trading crypto with the speed and low cost of platforms like Coinbase.
But with the added security and transparency of a decentralized exchange?
It's the goal.
Okay, this is exciting stuff. But before we get ahead of ourselves, can we break down the tech behind Termina a little? I know it's built on something called the Solana Virtual Machine, or SVM for short.
Of course. Think of the SVM like the operating system that powers everything on Solana. It's the engine that makes it all work.
So like how Windows or Mac OS makes your computer work.
Yeah, exactly. And building on the SVM offers some serious advantages for developers.
Like that.
Well, speed, first off, Solana is known for handling thousands of transactions every second.
That's way faster than a lot of other blockchains.
It is, yeah,
So anything built on Termina would inherit that speed.
exactly. Then there's low costs. Transaction fees on Solana are incredibly low compared to, say, Ethereum.
So that's faster transactions and lower fees.
Yeah.
Big wins all around.
Right. And on top of that, the SVM was designed to be developer-friendly, which is why so many talented builders are flocking to the Solana ecosystem.
Makes sense. The easier it is to build on, the more innovation we'll see.
That's the idea.
But here's where I'm getting a little confused. Even with Solana's power and speed, it still needs help scaling up to meet the demands of the future, right?
That's a really important point. You see, even a robust blockchain like Solana can run into problems as it grows.
It's like a highway that can handle a certain amount of traffic. But if everyone decides to hit the road at once, gridlock.
Perfect analogy. And that's
Yeah.
precisely where Termina comes in. It's designed to tackle those scaling challenges head on.
Okay, so how does it actually work?
The magic lies in network extensions. Termina lets developers create these extensions, which are basically customized blockchains that run within the Solana ecosystem.
So sticking with our highway analogy, it's like creating specialized off-ramps and dedicated lanes to keep things flowing smoothly.
Exactly. Instead of every car trying to cram onto the same highway, we create separate lanes for different purposes.
So what are those different lanes in the Termina world?
We have a few types. First, there are rollups. These are like the express lanes for transactions. They handle things off the main Solana blockchain, then submit a summary, making things super efficient.
It's like carpooling for transactions.
I like that. Then there are batchers. Think of them like delivery trucks, gathering up transactions off the main chain and delivering them to Solana in bulk.
So fewer individual deliveries clogging up the highway.
You got it. And finally, we have app chains. These are like entirely separate highways built specifically for certain applications that need a lot of control and privacy.
So if an app needs its own dedicated infrastructure.
It can have it, yep. And because these app chains are still connected to the main Solana network, they get the security and stability of Solana too.
So we have rollups for speed, batchers for efficiency, and app chains for specialized needs.
You got it. And the cool thing is, these different types of extensions can be combined and customized to meet the needs of pretty much any application.
This is all starting to make sense now. But I'm still a little fuzzy on how this translates into real-world applications.
Let's get into that then. One area where we're seeing a lot of action is with DePIN projects. Take Helium, for example.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of them. They're creating that decentralized wireless network, right?
Right. People can set up these Helium hotspots in their homes or businesses, and they provide wireless coverage for others and earn crypto rewards.
So it's like a community-owned internet provider.
Pretty much. And because helium relies on millions of these hotspots all over the world, it needs a seriously powerful blockchain infrastructure to handle all those
And
transactions.
that's where Termina comes in.
Exactly. It's providing that scalability and customization that helium needs to grow and connect more people.
So Termina is literally helping to connect the unconnected.
That's one way to put it. And then there's World Mobile, another great example. They're bringing internet access to underserved regions around the world.
I've read about them. They're building a network of nodes to provide access in places where traditional internet infrastructure is lacking.
Yep. And they need a strong blockchain to support them as they expand. Termina can do that.
So it's not just about providing access, it's also about creating a more equitable internet ecosystem.
Right, where people have more control over their own data.
Okay, this is incredible. So we're seeing how Termina is helping DePIN projects make a difference. But what about other applications? We touched on decentralized AI compute marketplaces before.
Oh, yeah, those are really interesting. They're tackling a big problem in the AI world, the shortage of GPUs.
GPUs, those specialized processors used to train AI models.
The very same. Platforms like IO.net and Akash are creating these decentralized marketplaces where people can rent out their spare computing power.
So if I have a powerful gaming PC just sitting there.
You could earn cryptocurrency by letting others use it to train their AI models.
Whoa, that's a cool idea. So Termin is helping these marketplaces scale up and handle all those users and AI training jobs.
It is. Think of it like building a highway system that can adapt to increasing traffic volume and different types of vehicles.
Termin is making sure these marketplaces can evolve and grow.
Exactly.
This is a lot to unpack, but I think we need to stop here for now.
Sounds good. We've laid some groundwork for understanding Termina and its potential.
We've talked about the tech, the benefits of building on the SVM, the challenges of scaling blockchains, and how Termin is addressing those with network extensions.
And we've even touched on some real-world applications.
But we've only just scratched the surface.
There's a whole universe of possibilities out there.
And we'll dive into those in part 2. Stay tuned, everyone.
See you, man.
All right, welcome back to our Termina deep dive.
We're ready to jump back in.
Last time we were talking about all these amazing possibilities, especially with DePIN and AI.
Yeah, those are really exciting areas.
But you mentioned there's even more to explore.
Oh, absolutely. Termina is being used to innovate in a bunch of different fields like decentralized finance.
DeFi, huh?
Yep, DeFi. We're seeing some really cool projects using Termina to build faster, cheaper, and more secure financial applications.
Okay, I'm all ears. Got any examples?
Sure. Take Zeta Markets, for example. They're a decentralized exchange, a DEX built on a Solana rollup.
Roll-up, like the express lanes we talked about.
Exactly. They're using that tech to achieve the kind of speed and efficiency you need to compete with those big centralized exchanges.
So you're saying I could trade crypto with the speed of Coinbase, but on a decentralized platform?
That's the idea. And because it's built on a rollup, it still has the security of the main Solana blockchain.
Best of both worlds, huh?
You got it.
That's pretty impressive. Any other DeFi projects out there doing cool things with Termina?
Definitely. There's Code, a decentralized payments network. They're focused on micropayments.
Micropayments, like tiny transactions.
Yep. Think paying for online content, tipping creators, or even making small purchases in the real world.
I see. So Termin is helping them handle a ton of those tiny transactions.
Exactly. They're using a Solana batcher to do it efficiently so the fees stay super low.
So Termin is making micropayments actually feasible.
That's the goal. It's not just about recreating the old financial system on the blockchain, though. It's also about building completely new things.
Okay, now my curiosity is piqued. What kind of new things are we talking about?
Well, imagine a lending platform where you can borrow or lend based on your reputation, no credit checks needed.
Kind of like a peer-to-peer lending platform, but powered by blockchain?
Yeah, something like that. Or think about insurance. You could pool risk with others and get payouts automatically based on certain conditions. No big insurance company involved.
That's wild. So Termin is not just improving existing financial services, but creating entirely new possibilities.
Exactly. And DeFi is just one area. Gaming's another space where we're seeing a lot of innovation thanks to Termina.
Oh, I'm a gamer at heart. Tell me more.
One of the biggest hurdles in blockchain gaming has been scalability. Lots of popular games need super fast transaction speeds to work properly.
Right. If there's lag or delays, it ruins the whole experience.
Exactly. But with Termina, game devs can build dedicated blockchains that are optimized for their specific needs.
So they can bypass the limitations of the main Solana blockchain.
Yeah. This means they can achieve way higher transaction speeds, making those games smooth and enjoyable to play.
So blockchain games that are actually fun to play.
That's the idea. And it's not just speed. Termina also lets developers create more complex gameplay mechanics.
Like what? Give me an example.
Imagine a game where you own in-game items as NFTs. You could use Termina to build a blockchain that handles those NFTs directly, making it easy to trade them within the game.
So players could actually own their in-game stuff. That's huge.
It is. No more worrying about high fees or slow transactions when you're trying to buy or sell that awesome sword you just found.
This is blowing my mind. It sounds like Termina's bringing blockchain gaming to a whole new level.
It is. And it's not just about making games more fun. It's also about new ways to own and profit from your gameplay.
Oh, how so?
Well, in traditional games, you don't really own anything, even if you put in hundreds of hours. It all belongs to the game developer. But with blockchain games built on Termina, those in-game items you collect, they can be yours as NFTs.
You're saying I could actually sell my hard-earned loot to other players?
Exactly. It's like owning a piece of the game world.
This is revolutionary. Okay, I'm sold on blockchain gaming. Now, what about NFTs in general? What's happening there with Termina?
Well, NFTs are all about digital ownership, right? And Termina is making them more accessible and versatile.
In what ways?
We're seeing this rise of generative art platforms that are using Termina to create and mint NFTs.
Generative art.
Yeah, so instead of an artist creating each piece by hand, they use algorithms to generate the art.
Whoa, like computer-generated art.
Exactly. Platforms like Art Blocks are using this to make truly unique and mind-blowing NFTs.
And Termina provides the infrastructure to make it all work.
Right, it handles the minting and trading, and it lets platforms customize their blockchains to do things like paying royalties to artists.
So the artists get a cut every time their NFT is sold, even on the secondary market.
That's the idea. It's a game changer for artists, letting them make a living from their work in a whole new way.
That's awesome. So NFTs are more than just digital art these days.
Absolutely. We're seeing them used for ticketing, loyalty programs, even identity verification.
Wow, the possibilities are endless. Okay, I need to hear more about decentralized social media. You mentioned that earlier.
Ah, yes. This one's a biggie. The problem with traditional social media is that it's also centralized.
Meaning it's controlled by a handful of companies.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they have way too much power. They can censor you, ban you, even shut down the entire platform if they want.
And we've seen that happen more and more lately.
It's a real problem for freedom of speech and expression.
Yeah.
But with Termina, we can build social media platforms that are owned by the community.
So no more all-powerful tech giants.
That's the dream. These platforms would be governed by the users. They could vote on how things are run, like content moderation policies.
That sounds like a truly democratic social media platform.
It would be a huge shift.
Nah.
But there are already projects out there working on this, exploring ways to use Terminus technology to make it happen.
Like who?
Diaspora is one example. They're an existing decentralized social network looking to improve their scalability and security with Termina.
So they're taking what they've already built and making it even better.
Right. It's all about empowering users and giving them control over their online experience.
This is all incredibly exciting, but we've covered so much ground. I think it's time for a breather.
I agree. We've seen how Termina is shaking things up in finance, gaming, NFTs, and social media.
It's clear this technology has the potential to change the world as we know it.
And in part 3, we'll take an even bigger picture view, exploring the long-term implications of Termina and what it means for the future of the internet.
Stay tuned, folks. The best is yet to come. And we're back for the final part of our Termina deep dive.
It's been quite a journey exploring all the different facets of this platform.
It really has. We started with the tech, then looked at all these cool applications. But what I keep coming back to is this idea of shifting power.
That's at the heart of it, isn't it?
I mean, right now, we're kind of at the mercy of these big tech companies.
They control so much of our digital lives.
It's true. They decide what we see, what we hear, even what we can say online.
And that's a lot of power concentrated in very few hands.
Exactly. But Termina and these decentralized technologies, they're offering a different path.
A way to build a more equitable internet, where power is distributed, where communities have a voice.
Okay, so let's zoom out a bit. We've talked about DePIN, DeFi, gaming, NFTs, even social media.
A lot of exciting stuff.
But what's the big picture here? What kind of future does Termina point towards?
I think it's pointing towards a future where the internet is truly decentralized, where users have real ownership and control.
That sounds amazing, but is it even possible?
Well, think about it. The internet started as a decentralized network. It's only over time that it's become dominated by these huge corporations.
It's just like we're going back to the internet's roots, but with better technology and a clearer vision.
Exactly. Termina is just one part of that movement, along with things like open source software and a growing awareness of digital rights.
So let's say this decentralized future does happen. What would that actually look like for everyday people?
For one thing, you'd have much more control over your data. Instead of companies tracking your every move, you could choose who has access and how it's used.
That would be a huge change.
It would. And then there's the issue of censorship. With decentralized platforms, information can flow more freely. It's harder to silence dissenting voices.
That's incredibly empowering. But what about the flip side? Misinformation, harmful content. Who would be responsible for dealing with that?
That's a really important question, and it's something that people are actively working on. In a decentralized world, moderation might be more community-driven.
So more like Wikipedia, where everyone contributes to ensuring accuracy.
Yeah, something like that. It wouldn't be perfect, but it could be a lot more transparent and accountable.
This all sounds really promising, but wouldn't all this decentralization just lead to chaos?
It's a valid concern, but decentralization doesn't mean anarchy. It's about finding new ways to govern and manage systems without relying on centralized power.
So new ways to make decisions, resolve disputes, keep things running smoothly.
Exactly. And there's a ton of innovation happening in those areas too. People are experimenting with different models of decentralized governance, trying to find what works best.
So it's not just about the tech, it's about changing how we think about power and control.
It's a societal shift as much as a technological one.
It's a lot to wrap your head around, but it's also incredibly exciting.
It is.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I think the main takeaway is this. Termina isn't just about making things faster or cheaper. It's about building a new kind of internet.
An internet that's more open, more equitable, more empowering for everyone.
And that's a future worth fighting for.
Absolutely. It's a future we can all help create.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the world of Termina. We hope you're leaving with a sense of possibility and a desire to learn more.
Keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep building the future you want to see.
And until next time, thanks for listening.